I taught biology here for 38 years until I retired in 1997 as an assistant head teacher. At the time, I was the second longest serving teacher in the history of King James's School. I must confess it seems quite a long time to me, but in the long history of the school, it really was no time at all. The letters patent, now known as the Charter, was signed and sealed by the King on the 24th of November 1608 at a cost of over £44, equivalent to several thousands of pounds in today's money. The Great Seal alone cost over £8. When his successor Leonard Griffiths arrived later that year, the school was down to 11 pupils and was at crisis point. He enjoyed some initial success and managed to boost numbers to 37 in his first 18 months. One was Felix Aylmer Jones, who became the eminent actor Felix Aylmer, shown here with Deborah Kerr, John Mills, and a young Haley Mills.
When I enter court.
How will you enter?
Slowly, soberly, with deliberate gravity, robed in scarlet, terrifying.
And so the scene was set in 1913 for the arrival of the most famous gaffer of them all, the 30-year-old Manchester University graduate Taylor Dyson. When he arrived, there were just 56 boys on the register. There would be over 250 when he retired 32 years later. One of Taylor Dyson's pupils of the 1940s was Geoffrey Neilson Taylor, who, as a fine athlete while at school, found himself a few years later leading the attack at Huddersfield Town Football Club, moving later to Fulham and Brentford. While studying for his degree in London, he then became involved in music and in due course achieved international fame in the world of opera.
I lift my glass to soldiers gay and old. With courage flaming, thrill with joy when they combat behold.
Then in 1951 arrived the Harry Taylor years.
I was 7 years old in 1951 when my father was successful in obtaining the post as head of King James's. We moved from Doncaster, where he'd been senior history master, and I well remember the removal van coming to pick up our furniture. We followed on the train, we had no car at the time, and I nursed my goldfish in a glass jar. The furniture was deposited
on the school cricket ground up at Arkenley Lane, and you can probably see the cricket pavilion in the background. For a long period of my life, cricket has been very important to me, and I've played cricket with the Old Almondburians Cricket Club since its inception by Graham Cliff in 1976. For a long time, relationships between the cricket club and the school were harmonious, but there was a time when relationships seemed to become strained, and we were rather stumped as to an explanation for this situation.
The difficulties which arose between the Old Almondburians Cricket Club and the school in the early 1990s were largely as a result of pressure on the school's budget. They were looking to save money, and there were certainly members of the governing body who probably thought that maintaining a cricket field and a pavilion could no longer be justified. That was a cause of considerable dismay to members of the cricket club and also to the wider membership of the society.
The present head teacher, Robert Lamb, took up his appointment in 2003. An early success was the achievement of Specialist Science College status the following year.
When I arrived at the school, David Bradford, who was one of the teachers at the time and still works at the school, was working on a bid for specialist status in science. This was quite crucial actually for the future of the school, but the ironic thing about that was that I'd already been involved in the writing of a successful bid at my previous school, also for a special science college status.
A fireworks display organised by Ron Lancaster's Kimbolden Fireworks was a fitting and spectacular prelude to the 400th anniversary dinner in the Gal Farm Stadium on the 22nd of
to correct something that I think it was Mr. Bush said, that I was from Lancashire. Well, it's true, I was born in Lancashire. I was born in Cleveleys in Lancashire, just outside Blackpool. But I was only there for a week. My mother had been sent up there by my father because I was born in 1944, and our house got bombed. Even in the womb, I seemed to hear the sounds of bombs, and my father got very upset and insisted that she should take a train from Euston Station, which has had a certain influence in my life, as I'll tell you, and that she should come northwards with me, 8.5 months pregnant, and the money ran out at Blackpool. She went and got a cab, went to the Queen's Hydro in Cleveleys, and that's where I was born. I haven't been back there since. I promise you, I've only been back to Lancashire about twice. Is that okay? Can I? Yeah. I'm a southerner. I know you'd much prefer that.
Back in 1547.
And they were called Kay?
Kay, yes, it's on the maternal side.
All right. And were they industrialists here, or?
They were yeoman farmers who did one of the districts.
I'm very conscious that your picture of James I makes him look rather miserable. And I think at the time, in 1608, he wasn't at all miserable, because although he'd been King of Scotland for about 40 years, the prospect of being King of England was something that
we're all very happy at the moment about the way the school's moving forward. We've got our best examination results that we've had for years. We're very, very confident that future years will continue the fantastic climb in the results that we're achieving. The school is extremely popular. We're oversubscribed all the time. Every week we're getting people phoning up seeing if they can get the children in the school. So it's wonderful times at the moment at King James's School. We've also got to look forward to is a remodelling of the school or rebuilding certain parts of the school to replace some of our dilapidated buildings and put 21st century buildings up there. And I think that once we retain the best of the old and have these new buildings, and with the present popularity of the school, the success of King James is going to be guaranteed for future generations. And hopefully that we'll be in a situation where future head teachers will be interviewed in 50, 100, 150 years' time, and they'll be saying something exactly the same as this, that King James is one of the most successful schools, if not the most successful schools, in Kirklees and the West Yorkshire region.